What do you figure Plo Koon dresses up for on Halloween? Himself? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today, we're going to talk about 5 characters that everyone should be working on, or at least should have these characters on their radar, because they're very relevant to the game right now, and how your roster is going to be working and constructed and everything. We'll take a look at it. It's going to be a good time, I'm sure. So first, I do want to say thanks to all my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of your support. And I couldn't do anything without you guys. Well, you know what? I totally could do something without you guys, but you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. And just a reminder, folks, if you want to support this channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, mount the algorithm, guys. The algorithm is the 5th character on your roster that you need to be working on. It's not, but it sounded great to me at the time in my head. So let's go to the game, and whoa, we're in the game. Madness. This is so crazy, guys. Wow. Okay, so here's the thing. First off, I want you to realize that I understand that you probably are farming some kind of Galactic legend right now. This is on my alternate account, which, man, the GP has really just ballooned lately. I can't believe how high that number is. But the fact of the matter is, I only had 3 Galactic Legends up until a few weeks ago when those new bundles came out, and I was already planning on, I was like, okay, this is cool. In a couple months, I'll have Sith Eternal Emperor done, and I'll get Leia done, and we'll have them both farmed, and we'll add a couple Galactic Legends. We only had 3. I was going to go to 5, and then the bundles dropped, and now I have Rey, and I'll have Kylo very soon, and then I'll have Leia and Sith Eternal Emperor very soon after that. I also have Cal, and I don't have enough Zetas for any of them, and it's a whole huge mess. And if you are struggling, if you feel like you've just kind of hit a standstill, like, why can I not gear any characters? Why am I completely out of all the things, out of Zetas, out of gear, out of relic levels? I mean, that's what CG wants. They want you to spend some money, and I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I mean, it could be negative, potentially, but all I want to say is, maybe you just need to work on Galactic Legends. In fact, there are good and sufficient reasons to be working on Galactic Legends right now. It seems like there's going to be at least a new store, but potentially an entire new game mode based off of having Galactic Legends, and you may end up really wanting to have those. So if you need to do that, I get it. I'm not telling you you have to stop all of your stuff, all of your priorities, and work on these things. All I'm saying is, maybe you should be thinking about these, because they're going to impact your roster and the way people do things for quite some time. So let's get into it. Alright, I mean, I have Jedi Cal as well. He's Relic 8. It's crazy. I know, that's probably a humble brag. First off, I want to say, folks, so Zelpo characters, this is actually different from, this isn't part of the 5. I know that this is crazy. We've already talked about Galactic Legends. We've seen 2 versions of Eth Koth, and now we're looking at Zelpo characters. And I want to say a quick note on this, because I think that there is some undue strain out in the wild that people are maybe suffering from, that maybe could be alleviated. Here's the thing. A lot of guilds are saying, because it's possible, guys, and there are guides out there that aren't very good, but they'll tell you that you can beat the Zelpo mission if you use Seer and Cal Kestis Jr., the little guy, the dude that isn't any good. I mean, he's actually really good with Seer, but he's not good at that mission, and it has a really low win rate if you use him. I know that you can win with it. I've seen people win with it, and I've seen entire guilds go into feeding frenzies on people who are like, why aren't you even trying? You're crazy. We're trying to get to Zelpo. And the fact is, no one can get to Zelpo off of just that character. And I think Honestly, I think that people should stop working on that character, on the Cal Kestis character. Like, get him to Relic 5, because he is so good with Seer, with Malicos, with a lot of characters. He is not a Zepho unlock character. I know that it says that he is. I don't think he really, like, he's incidentally, like, okay, if you have a Relic 7, sure, try it. You have Relic 7 on him, on Seer, that's fine. But don't just overly prioritize him. I think a lot of guilds put way too much pressure on him, and I know that a lot of guilds are probably going to hate me for saying it, but I just don't think any guild, unless you're a top tier guild who's going to stream everything, and you have someone who's extremely knowledgeable about modding and about the mission and knows all the stuff, you're just not going to get there, folks. I don't mean to be rude, but that's been the fact for a long time. A lot of guilds have tried actively that have big rosters who have good players, and they still haven't really been getting in. Most of the people getting into Zepho have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. Now, if you have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, that's a different question or a different matter, and you can see I'm working on Seer's relics right now because I just unlocked Jedi Cal. A lot of the guilds that say, like, you guys should be unlocking Zepho, and they're talking down to you, it's because those guilds already had a bunch of Cal Kestis Jedi Knight when he was released the first time, and they've been in Zepho because of him, not because they're good using the other Cal Kestis. Maybe they're decent, but I never saw any guild. I saw a lot of guilds talk a lot of smack saying that they could do it, and then I never saw anything come out of it. So I just don't think you should work on it. Frankly, I'm sorry, guild leaders. I think work on Seer, get an angle to get Jedi Cal Kestis, because he's amazing. He is so good. He is amazing. He's gonna transform a lot of rosters. Anyways, that's beside the point. Let's move on from here, guys. So kind of in the same vein, however, guys. Here's the thing: if you're working on Seer and you do have, I do think you should be working on Cal Jr., as a lot of people are calling him, or Little Cal, whatever. If you have him at Relics, you have Seer at Relics, you have Malicos, all these different characters. One thing that I've noticed is Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum she's just a delete button. She deletes characters so hard, and that's not just in Territory Wars where she has her Omicron. I don't even have the Omicron in GAC. She just in threes, I had the most fun ever with a Seer and Cal squad with Fulcrum because they have so many buffs, and she just does really, really well with that team. And no, she's not required for anything. I think she'll eventually be required for some. At some point, we're gonna get Ahsoka content, right? Like content in this game from the show Ahsoka, and you have to think that Fulcrum is at least going to be part of the conversations of, is she going to be required, is she going to be useful, whatever. She is very strong. They reskinned the character to look like that Ahsoka's face a little bit, at least the Rosario Dawson version of her. And so anyways, I'm not saying the thing is, I wouldn't say just work on her just in case that she's going to be useful in a year. I would say work on her now because she's awesome now. She does a lot of damage. She's been waiting for a team of Ufus to actually work with. And when you get her Omicron on Cal and herself, they do some crazy stuff in Territory Wars as well, even though I don't have the Omicron on any of my characters, and I probably won't ever get him. I might actually. I'm thinking of it. Next, and he's been on my list a few times, guys, Mace Windu. He is, because he went right out the window, he is just really strong, guys. He destroys people, and the thing is, he is perpetually really relevant. He goes on all the really good Jedi teams. Except for maybe like Jedi Master Luke, because Jedi Master Luke is like, hey, I'm the taunter here, so you stop taunting, I'm gonna taunt. And Mace is like, I don't think so, and they get all moody at each other, and it's a whole mess, because Mace is like, your dad was never a master, and Luke is like, my dad could beat you up, and Mace is like, yeah, he actually did beat me up. That's a good point. So here's the thing, Mace is how do we even frame it, guys? Okay, so he's a good tank first off, and he has protection regeneration, and he is able to call people to assist, and he's able to dispel. He has an ability block on basic. He does all this cool stuff, guys. And then the really important stuff, like Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint is crazy, not just for territory wars, though it is very strong. It's also that Shatterpoint is so good because it chips away at really tough characters, and that makes him extremely viable and consistently good. Because Galactic Republic are kind of their own mini faction within the Jedi grid, or the Jedi faction, and so he goes with all of those guys, and then he also goes with a ton of other just like the all-comers Jedi. So he works really well with Jedi Luke, he works really well with Jedi Revan, all of those different characters, and he takes down all these characters, and he's going to continue to be very relevant because he's going to be hitting all these different characters and chipping away at them and taking off their maximum health and their max defense, and there's no limit to how much he can do that for. He just keeps chipping away at them. It's fairly amazing, folks. The Shatterpoint stuff is really good. He has a taunt, like we've talked about. It's just really cool, guys. The Shatterpoint, of course, every time they receive damage, that reduces their defense, max health, and their offense. It reduces how much damage they can do. It's really cool. And I mean, just on top of that, he also so they just redid his ship, but then beyond that, when he takes a turn, he gets rid of all the stealth out there. Everyone who was in stealth, he's like, haha, you can't hide from me, even though Palpatine successfully hid from him for years in plain sight. But yeah, anyways, he talks a big game, and then he kind of backs it up. But here's the other thing, though, folks. I have him at Relic 5 on this account. My main account has him at Relic 9. 9 is enough, for sure. 5 is not really enough. If you're facing a really strong Malgus, he will just get one shot by Malgus. So more relics on him is probably something you want to be doing. Now, the next one is Plo Koon, and he was the character that was on the thumbnail, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I think people should be working on him. Okay, so his ship is obviously vital for the Galactic Republic fleet, and now that we just recently got that new clone ship, the Marauder, the Bad Batch ship, that fleet is more relevant than ever. Even though poor Endurance is kind of just getting left out in the cold again. I mean, it is in space, so that makes sense that it would be out in the cold, but it's left out in the social cold as well. And the Negotiator fleet, including Plo Koon, is getting all the love. So the fleet is good, and that's relevant. That's a good reason to work on Plo anyways. In my opinion, he's actually part of a few different counters to do, like Negotiator versus Executor, for instance. You have to have him at Relic, I don't know, 7 sometimes. It's a little bit crazy, and I didn't do it for this account, even though I love the off-meta stuff. The reason you want Plo is because of Leia, and I mean, if you're not going to unlock Leia, I guess it's a little less of an issue, but here's the thing. If you have Starkiller, a lot of times you're going to want Old Ben to go on that Starkiller team. He's a really good Jedi. He does the ability block on everyone. He reduces turn meter. He is a taunting tank, and he keeps his taunt. He does a lot of cool stuff, and that's great. Good job, Old Ben. Except now, Kanan wants to go with Phoenix. Kanan is we only have 2 Jedi that are also rebels and are also tanks, and those are Old Ben and Kanan. And so you take Old Ben and Kanan and decide, okay, which one of them can go with Leia? Because Leia really wants a Jedi rebel tank for some reason. That built it into her kit. That's what they want, and the answer is going to be Old Ben needs to go with her, because Kanan is needed for the up-and-coming awesome Phoenix squad that deletes a lot of different teams, including Inquisition. And so, Old Ben is gone. He's not part of that team anymore, and you want a taunting Jedi for the Starkiller team. And Plo Koon ends up being a really good character because Starkiller will already make him taunt, so he doesn't need to taunt on his own. The things that he does, though, are actually fairly compelling, and so I probably need to work on him on this account because obviously he doesn't have much gear, his mods are pretty bad, but here's the thing. Here's the awesome stuff that he does, folks. First off, basic, dispel on basic. What does Starkiller counter a lot of? He counters Rey a lot, and at the very start, at the very least, she's going to have a lot of buffs that you want to get rid of. The crit immunity, for instance, really nice. He gains defense up. He does some cool stuff. He's very slow, by the way. Starkiller gives him 70 speed, and Plo's like, I'm still slow, like an old man would say. He has an AoE that could get rid of, you know, it could just get rid of foresight and stuff. You probably won't use the AoE. The really cool thing, guys, and this is something that we used this tech quite a bit when, like 5 years ago, gosh, when Jedi Revan was the meta. So you use Plo Koon with Jedi Revan, so you'd get more turn meter, and you'd get more turns to kill each other, because Jolie would just always revive, and it would just be this timeout nightmare. It was one of the most miserable metas in the game, honestly, trying to do the Jedi Revan mirrors. And Plo Koon really solved that because of this ability. It was like, okay, your whole team's just almost about to kill Jolie. You almost got him. You almost... Oh, they're taking all their turns because you just don't quite have enough juice. Plo Koon would step in and he'd be like, hey, you guys want some more turn meter? Have some more turn meter. So he handed everyone 50% turn meter. Now, a Starkiller team doesn't have clones or Jedi on the team, but he does still get that he does have other allies, and they gain half of that amount. Everyone gets 25% turn meter. That's pretty fortunate on a team that already runs on turn meter. He's going to be a very valuable person to start with that. The other really cool thing is each ally has a 55% chance to remove stealth from each enemy at the start of their turn, which is crazy. Every ally of his can remove stealth from someone else. I mean, if someone's hiding from Starkiller, if you're facing, like Rey is going to have a lot of sortie on that team lately. That's how it's been. And sortie gives someone VIP, and that puts them in stealth. And Plo lets you dispel it. He's going to be good on a Starkiller team, guys. And it's probably going to be, if you're going to get Leia, he's going to be a character that you kind of want to gear as part of that Leia farm in a way, just because Old Ben is going to shift over to Leia, and then Plo Koon is going to join Starkiller. I mean, that's my plan, at least on my main account. We'll see that this 5v5, and I'm excited to see where that goes, to be honest. Now, similarly with Leia right now, so she wants that Jedi tank. The other thing she wants, though, is probably a pre-taunt. Now, there's some interesting things that she does with K2SO, but he's not a pre-taunt. And honestly, a lot of times, what people have been saying is if they use Baze as the starting character for her team in 5v5, then it really messes with people. So you have Old Ben and Baze. Those are the two that you kind of add to the team from 3v3. Like 3v3, you have Leia, Drogon, and R2-D2. And then the two you add to it for 5s are going to be the two tanks, which are Old Ben and Baze. Not to mention, even if you don't get Leia anytime soon, Baze is really strong for a lot of different reasons. First off, he's a light side pre-taunt, which, I mean, there's a few pre-taunt light side, but he's really good. He has two dispels, two abilities that dispel. One's an AoE dispel, and one of them is just a single shot, and is a semi-high damage dispel as well. He also works really nicely with AdRad teams, and he's actually the main character, or at least an important character on a lot of those teams. He's usually my 5th on my main account for AdRad teams, and so I would work on him, guys. He doesn't suck. Now, finally, we have Scout Trooper, and there's a lot going on with Scout Trooper. First off, Scout Trooper works really well with the current Imperial Trooper squads, and you need Scout Trooper to unlock Leia. That's probably enough reason to be working on Scout Trooper. However, another reason to prioritize Scout Trooper, even if you're not working on Leia, you don't want to work on Leia, Leia sucks, you don't have good troopers, whatever. Here's the thing. She's also going to be part of the Imperial Remnant faction, which maybe you don't care about that either. I mean, I don't know that we should care that much. It seems like, oh, another okay territory war team. Cool, I guess that's fine. But here's the thing, folks. Scout Trooper is also the character who is almost guaranteed to be extremely relevant for the raid. We don't know what the raid is going to look like yet as the making of this video. We have no idea which characters are going to be relevant. We have a list of characters that are going to be used there or can be used. The only character right now that we have that's going to be, that's kind of just guaranteed to be part of everything, like central to your strategy, is Scout Trooper, because Scout Trooper has the Omicron, or will have an Omicron for the raid that's going to just make things easier in general. I mean, maybe we won't be applying the Omicron to Scout Trooper. I would be holding an Omicron, by the way, for the new raid, if you already have Scout Trooper, if you're working on Scout Trooper. But one way or another, guys, Scout Trooper is part of some incredibly current, modern, wonderful teams, and I mean, it's looking very, very promising to see what Scout Trooper does, and I think that there is a lot of reason to be working on Scout Trooper. I mean, not to mention Scout Trooper is a really fantastic, currently a really fantastic datacron, if you care about that sort of a thing. So that's it, folks. Those are the 5 characters that I think you should be working on. Other things that we'll be looking at in the future include what characters we should be working on in terms of like the newly announced marquees, including like IG-12 and stuff. And so the Dash team with Hondo is something that we should be discussing. The Nice Sisters is a team that we should probably be looking at for multitudinous reasons. Honestly, the new Bo-Katan team is going to be very relevant, maybe for some people, maybe not. The Dark Side Mando team, is that even a thing? Honestly, so some people would say maybe not. Maybe we're going to have Order 66 Jedi coming up with Kelleran Beck or Bellaran Keck. I don't remember what his name is, but one way or another, maybe we'll just have a bunch of incompetent Jedi flailing about the galaxy. And then, I mean, Bad Batch seem like they're on the rise, folks. Honestly, they're going to be, they're very useful for a variety of reasons, not just for unlocking Lord Vader, but also for piloting the new awesome ship that counters a ton of stuff, and also as a potential location for future content pieces that we may end up getting. So one way or another, folks, all this stuff probably in a different video, but I would love to hear what your thoughts are. What is a character that you think should be worked on right now? What do you think? What did I miss? I would love to hear it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.